This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Self-concept. Self-concept, self-esteem, self-efficacy, and self-confidence are believed to greatly influence an individual's way of life. Self-concept, also known as self-image or self-perspective, refers to how an individual views himself. It can also refer to the way an individual knows or understands about himself. Self-concept is not a reality but a mental conception of self. It stretches across various facets of oneself, such as intellectual ability, physical appearance, social talents, accomplishments, emotional states, and health. For example, personal conception of physical traits such as height constitutes self-concept. For instance, when a person says that he is athletic, the trait of being athletic constitutes that person's self-concept. In essence, self-concept distinguishes an individual from other individuals in his or her surroundings. Self-concept starts to build at about 6 months of age and changes dynamically throughout one's life. 3 qualities of self-concept are identified: it's learned, dynamic, and organized. One is not born with a self-concept. It develops a few months after birth and changes continuously with one's interaction with the world. It is a social construction that develops with perceived experiences, especially with others. As a learned mental construction of self, a person can have a different perception of self as others perceive him. It also implies that one can change his self-concept by viewing his situation or experiences differently. Self-concept is said to be organized in that it tends to be stable and consistent and, therefore, dictates an individual's personality. Besides being learned and organized, self-concept changes throughout one's life. A person gains a new self-perception and may shed earlier conception depending on his experience. A person's self-concept influences his self-confidence and self-esteem and determines his present and future. It indeed affects the quality of life and, therefore, determines the level of happiness. Therefore, it's appropriate to develop a good self-concept. Self-concept develops from a person's interaction with others and his environment. Therefore, positive experiences and interactions will likely lead to a positive self-concept. In children, positive reinforcement and encouragement rather than rebuke and ridicule can help a child to develop a positive self-concept and grow to be self-confident and with high self-esteem. Self-efficacy. Self-efficacy refers to a person's perception of their ability to do something or achieve a particular goal. It is a belief in one's capability rather than having the actual capability. A person with high self-efficacy, therefore, believes that he can do or achieve a specific thing. On the other hand, a person with low self-efficacy has low confidence in his capability to do or achieve something. Self-efficacy is mostly used in relation to an action or a goal. For example, a student may have high self-efficacy in doing well in science but have low self-efficacy in performing well in literature. Unlike efficacy, which refers to competence, self-efficacy refers to belief in competence. Therefore, an individual may have high self-efficacy in something but cannot achieve it. Self-efficacy greatly influences an individual's chance of success in a particular endeavor. A person with high self-efficacy has a higher probability of succeeding in something than someone with low self-efficacy. In his social cognitive theory, Bandura asserts that a person develops a certain personality by observing others. Relating social cognitive theory to self-efficacy, it can be construed that a person's self-efficacy can be influenced by observing others. For example, a son who has observed his father succeed in business can have high self-efficacy in succeeding in business. Bandura's theory also implies that a person with high self-efficacy is likely to attempt and succeed in something. The level of self-efficacy has a significant influence on behavior and the choices that one makes in life. In most cases, people take tasks they believe they can do well and avoid those they believe they can fail. Therefore, an individual is likelier to engage in tasks with high self-efficacy. Considering that self-efficacy is a belief, individuals with self-efficacy that is beyond their ability are likely to fail and be frustrated, while individuals with self-efficacy below their ability are unlikely to progress. On the other hand, individuals with high self-efficacy are highly motivated and can put more effort and persist, therefore making it more likely for them to succeed. Self-esteem. Self-esteem refers to how a person evaluates his self-worth. High self-esteem and low self-esteem are used to refer to the way an individual considers himself relative to others. A person with high self-esteem has high regard for his self-worth. Such a person would consider himself important and would portray it through his voice, posture, and confidence. Unlike self-concept, self-esteem is emotional. Therefore, a person with high self-esteem would have positive feelings, such as being loved and acceptable, while a person with low self-esteem may have bad feelings about themselves. Although self-efficacy may influence self-esteem, the two are not always correlated. For example, a person with low self-efficacy in mountain climbing may have high self-esteem, while another with high self-efficacy demonstrates low self-esteem. High self-esteem is an important factor in life. An individual with high self-esteem would view his or her life positively and is likely to be happy. On the other hand, low self-esteem is associated with failure and psychological problems. High or low self-esteem, however, develops from an individual's experience in life. For instance, the way a child is treated can affect its self-esteem later in life. Considering that self-esteem is largely developed during childhood, children need to be brought up in a friendly and accommodative environment. If you want to find more works like this term paper on personal reflection on the self-concept, head over to ivpanda.com. It has a collection of free samples with thousands of submissions covering virtually all academic subjects. No registration required to access it.